Good morning, and welcome to this Thursday's edition of the Conversation with Kelly Diamond. You can catch me every Thursday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, as well as my written word every Monday at globalwealthprotection.com. Okay, so this week is all about foreign policy, and it was triggered, of course, once again by something I saw on Facebook. Yeah, it's so lovely to have this diverse crowd of people. And keep my resident neocons and neoliberals on my page, because I mean, I forget, if I were to just stay amongst like-minded libertarians and anarchists, I would forget that there's this rest of the world that wants to set it on fire. So thanks for keeping the show alive. Anyway, so I wrote down the quote that I saw that was just mind-boggling, and honestly I don't want to memorize it, so I'm gonna read it because this is disgusting, but here it goes. The only way to deal with Islamic State, these bloodthirsty, blood-drunken terrorists, is to kill them until you kill the last one, then you kill his goat. Yes, this was brought to you by Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, who apparently thinks that because he's got a bunch of shit before his name, probably deserves some form of respect. Maybe some thanks as well. The irony is that this was posted by a self-proclaimed God-fearing Christian. And I said in response on that thread that all that's going to do is perpetuate a cycle of death, destruction, and hate. They want you to do it. They want you to come out and start killing, because then they can say to their insular crowd, see, they're willing to kill men, women, and children. That's what they do. So now, will you join me? See, we're sitting here with internet, newspapers, and magazines, and reporters, and correspondents, and alternative media, and alternative news outlets. We have a constant stream of information coming in. So you would think that having all of that at your fingertips would breed a society of people who would know better than to subscribe to such fear-mongering. But in fact, we don't. We have people who are otherwise rather smart, or at least have the aptitude and the intelligence to be smart people, but just choose not to be. And while that's baffling to me, and while, it is your choice, stupidity is a choice, it's not an incurable disease, okay? I mean, it's not like you're born stupid. I had no choice. I was born stupid. I identify with stupidity. Please embrace my diversity. No, it's not like that. It's not like you have some sort of genetic predisposition to being stupid. That is absolutely a choice. And it's not even like you live in a country or you live in an area where people keep information from you. That's not true either. Okay, you are more than capable of getting real information rather than sitting there and listening to this fear-mongering nonsense. Okay? But to say that we need to destroy the Islamic State, okay, that we shouldn't even try to be diplomatic. Diplomacy's been tried. Yeah, on our terms. On our terms. Don't tell me that we've tried to be peaceful and we're just like, hey, how about you leave me alone and I'll leave you alone? That conversation has never once happened. In any diplomatic talk, I can assure you that the United States has never put on the table, how about we just leave your country and leave you the hell alone? No. Don't. Please. Not with me. Maybe with somebody else. We've had our diplomatic talks. We have, then I guess we better blow them to bits. You can have that conversation with some hick out, in the middle of nowhere, or even some hick out here in the big city, because there's no way that I'm going to be convinced that conversation ever happened. It didn't. Okay. The one thing that should be on the table for discussion and hasn't been on the table is the United States leaving everybody else the fuck alone and getting out of the Middle East altogether. Just dismantling, just saying, hey, we're going to shut down our ports. You can have them if you want. You can tear them down if you want. We're the fuck out. I'm taking every last infidel with me. We're the fuck out. You do you. Could have done that. We could have done that, but we didn't. Okay, if that conversation doesn't happen, there has not been diplomatic talks. There's been ultimatums. There's been, let me try and buy you off, like we do with Egypt. Okay, that's what we've got. That's our diplomatic talk. Our diplomacy has to do with buying people off, and it really pisses us off that other people don't talk that way, that don't relate that way, because our whole culture deals with being bought off. So then when we go out into the world and say, hey, can I buy you off? Can I buy you off? Can I buy you off with my fake ass money and my hyperinflated money? Can I do that? And they say, no, it's not about that. They get really pissed off, which is funny because, I mean, this happened before. Japan tried to buy off an entire section of its history, right? When in World War II, Japan had what was called comfort women. These comfort women were 13-year-old girls being abducted everywhere from the Philippines to Korea to conjugally serve their infantry. They were raped on a daily basis. They were abducted for the sole purpose of being raped by the military, the Japanese military, to keep them comforted. Okay. So Japan tries to just sweep this under the rug first, and of course these women won't shut up. So they said, well, here, can we just give you some money? I'm sorry, where I come from, in the dictionary I use, when you pay somebody for sex, that's called prostitution. So what you've just done is taken a rape victim and turned them into a prostitute and asked for thanks. My own brain pieces everywhere, right? And these women are like, no, I want you to acknowledge what you did in your history books. It's about acknowledging what you did, owning what you did as a country, as a government, right? Owning up to this with a formal apology. That's what I want. I want words, certain words, factual words. Oh, no, we can't do that. You won't get your words. You don't get the words you want. If all it takes is words to get peace from you, I won't give them to you. I will give you money. And that's our foreign policy now. For as much hype, and I think this is probably the most important point. The most important point. For as much hype and fear as there is pertaining to the radical Muslims, the American death toll is rather low in comparison to the Muslim death toll. We've killed several times over the number of innocent Muslims as they have innocent Americans. And that's assuming we accept the 9/11 narrative, right? 30,000-ish innocent Americans die in these towers and in the attempts to rescue. And we go and kill hundreds of thousands of innocents in retaliation. Right? And all the while we're freaking out about these boogeymen who've never actually come back to do anything, who aren't coming here to kill Americans, who haven't come here to kill Americans. But we keep going there to kill their Muslims. I would like to know, post 9/11, what warrants us going there and killing more Muslims? Well, they're beheading people and shooting people and doing these terrible things. Yes. As are we. Right. Now imagine for a moment. This is because this is what they're saying. This is their new government. This is their Sharia government. That you have to understand, this is the future of the Middle East. That's what they're saying. Right. Okay. I'm going to go send some footage of American cops beating down on citizens. And I'm going to show some footage of Abu Ghraib. And I'm going to show some footage of Gitmo. And then I'm going to show some footage of actual testimonies surrounding American serial killers. Okay. I'm going to send all this beautiful montage of shit straight out of America. Star-spangled awesome. Okay. I'm going to send this montage over to Al Jazeera. And they can play it on a loop on their 24-hour news network. Now, what if, based on that footage, Iran says, holy shit, America's being oppressed. Look at what they're doing. Hey, look at, that's an American government official shooting a man in the back for running away. Look here. Look here. Here's a statesman tasering a man who's trying to get his identification out. Oh my God, look at this. It's another officer of the law, American government official, shooting a man for jaywalking. Holy fuck. And look at these serial killers. Look, one after another. These murderous assholes. Look at what they're doing. America is just riddled with these killing, bloodthirsty assholes. Jesus, we gotta get over there. We gotta save them from themselves. That's the only way. It's the only way. How else do you remedy this? We have to go over there now. We have to. I mean, Jesus, this is a humanitarian crisis. Would they be justified in doing just that? Would you not blame them? Would you thank them when they got here? Would you be like, thank you, Iran? Thank you for occupying the United States with your tanks and shit. Oh my God, I was wondering who was going to free us from these assholes. No? That would be considered an invasion. Ironically. And yet this is the exact same rationale that we use to go over there, blow them up, troll their streets, terrorize their neighborhoods, have their children fearing the fucking sky, thinking that missiles in fact rain instead of water. This is what you've done. In the name of self-defense, what the fuck? In the name of self-defense, you're gonna go kill these people? They're not here. They haven't invaded. They haven't done anything. And individuals who do things here that are of a violent nature should be dealt with. And will be dealt with. But you're not going to get a country invasion. They want to commandeer Iraq. They want to invade and take over Iraq. This new gang we've raised from the dust. And in about 5 to 7 years, the Syrian rebels who were providing arms to and helping and having helped us in this little ISIS situation, we'll be fighting them next. These liberation groups that we keep pulling out of nowhere to help the wars end up being our enemies about 5 to 10 years down the line. I don't know if you've noticed the pattern yet. Right? I mean, first the Mujahideen, then Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda, now ISIS, Syrian rebels, next. Okay? We create these radical groups to help us, and then we condemn them and wage a new war against them. This is our cycle. Okay? That anybody thinks that it is our obligation to go on a war tour of freedom, that their minds have been conditioned to even accept this as rational, is indicative of such a psychological sickness and a sociological sickness. I can't even begin. It is no different than a terrorist mentality, right? Except for one immutable fact, that by and large, these radicals, these Muslim radicals, which I don't deny exist, they're willing to die. Americans, not so much. We're not as willing to die. Because while, yeah, our cause is noble, apparently it's not noble enough to have to die, to want to die, to dare somebody to take your life, to be willing to just throw your life out there. That's not what they do. That's not what our military does. Our military does everything it can not to die. Right? But our foreign policy shouldn't exist. Our foreign policy should involve commerce, trade. I mean, we talk about these countries here in the United States like China. China's a threat. Dude, China ain't no threat. China ain't coming over here. It doesn't need to. China hasn't been involved in a war in forever. Aside from a civil war with its own people, but certainly not an international war. It doesn't want to conquer other countries. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it wants to see America economically crumble. I don't think it enjoys its relationship with the United States. I think it tolerates it. But China's not going to come here and run its tanks down our streets. But we call it a threat simply because they're a communist country. We call Russia a threat to the United States. We've been calling Russia a threat to the United States. But Russia ain't coming here and dropping its tanks off either. And they have the means. China and Russia actually have the means to do it. And they're not going to do it. They have the motive to do it, but they're not going to do it. They have the opportunity to do it, but they're not going to do it. They have motive, means, and opportunity, and they're still not going to do it. But somehow, some radical group out in the fucking desert is going to do it. If they are going to terrorize us, which I do believe is possible, all they have to do is take advantage of our heightened fear, our over-exaggerated, unfounded levels of fear. Honestly. I mean, if you take somebody who's jumpy as fuck, sneak up on him and say, boo, I'll be surprised if that guy doesn't die of a heart attack. He's already worked himself up so much that you just going, boo, I mean, could just send them into a frenzy, right? Well, that's what the United States is. The United States is already so fucking wound up. Somebody could drop some dry ice in a fucking grocery store. All it takes is one person to scream bomb. You'll have 50 people kill themselves just in the panic alone. That's how fucking jumpy we are and how irrational we've become here in the United States. So honestly, I don't even see the need for them to leave. We're going to destroy ourselves in the name of freedom and protecting ourselves. Our response to shit happening in the Middle East is so fucking irrational. I liken it to somebody saying outside your window in the street, yo bitch, I bet you can't take me. To which the people inside the house respond with, what the fuck? And start throwing every fucking thing out of their house at them. I mean, literally, just fucking, I'm going to throw my sofa at your ass. I'm going to throw my fucking pots and pans. I'm going to just throw every fucking thing in my house at you. Out into the middle of the street at the voice that said it. But it was a threat. It was a threat. So you took all your worldly possessions and just threw them out in the fucking street? That's what you do when you feel threatened? You start taking every fucking thing that's in your name and just throwing it out like garbage? Because that's literally what our policy is. We're literally taking our economy and saying, oh, did you just fucking threaten me? Did you just possibly look sideways at an American reporter? Oh no, take this. I'm going to take my entire fucking economy and throw it at you. That'll teach your ass. But these people, there's countless people. And it's the same people who like to hump the borders. You know, it's the same people who are like, oh, my borders, my borders. Okay, well, also my national securities, my national securities. I mean, that's what our foreign policy is. It's no different. It's the same people. And you can hear them backpedal too. It's not about, genocide. We're not killing people for who they are. We're killing them for what they do. Oh, will you be putting them on trial then? Confirming that each individual that you kill is in fact a murderer. Is that what you're going to be doing? Because the only way you can kill somebody for what they do is proving first that they did it. So are we going to go over there and just start holding trials for every fucking person in the Middle East? I didn't think so. And the claim is never the only way to deal with mass murderers is to kill them off. That's not the claim. The claim is the only way to deal with the Islamic State is to kill them off. And apparently, for good measure, we should be killing their pet goats. By all means, let's slaughter the animals, too. Right? Let's kill their fucking livestock. Just for good measure. What, did this guy, like, pull fucking wings off of birds as a child? Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters? I mean, seriously, is wartime your outlet for your, like, serial killer tendencies? And then this rhetoric that you can feed these people to make them feel justified in killing people halfway around the world. If serial killers in the United States, I mean, I'm talking the most heinous fucking murders in the United States, get a trial, then heinous murderers get trials. And we first confirm that they are, in fact, the heinous murderer we thought they were, before we go and blow their shit up. That's not the right of an American. We don't have that because it's not a privilege to get a trial. It's a right. And if it's a right to get a trial, because it makes sense to prove guilt before destroying someone's life, then it doesn't stop at our border. We do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you're a privileged American. Otherwise, call that shit a fucking privilege. But you don't get to call it a right to a trial and then say, but rights stop at the border. No, rights don't stop at the border. We recognize them here because we believe them to be true and believe them to be universal. So if you're going to go over and do some shit and start persecuting people across the fucking ocean, I highly suggest you take all of your fucking morals with you. But we don't try people. We just blindly kill them because somebody told us that they're bad. That's our foreign policy. All it takes a high-up official to sit there and clamor about a group of people or a country. I mean, how many times did it circulate on the internet that Ahmadinejad said we should wipe Israel off the map? And no one even thought to check to see if the translation was correct before running with that shit? We had politicians running on that platform. We had pundits cashing in on that. We had war machines and the military-industrial complex just cashing in on a quote that never took place. That was not the accurate translation. He never mentioned the word map. All over a translation that never happened. Words that were actually never said. They were totally contrived, and we went batshit over it. We've declared Iran an enemy, and they've never done shit to us. We've overthrown their shahs. We've fucked with their government, with their politics. They've never done a thing to us. We put Saddam Hussein in power. We used Osama bin Laden as a CIA operative. And then we turned them later into enemies. And for some reason, people don't remember that part. The part where they were our allies. The part where we fucked with them first. So, in the diplomatic talks for foreign policy, unless it's put on the table that the United States is just going to drop its shit and leave, there has been no diplomatic effort, no genuine diplomatic effort. There have been ultimatums only. And the only way to deal with violence that hasn't come to your door is to not indulge it in the first place and to walk the fuck away from the fight. Not to egg it on indiscriminately, based solely on fear. That's irresponsible. Never mind, absolutely psychotic. Anyway. Catch you next week. Take care. Bye.